I'm Luca Guadagnino. I am a director, writer, producer. Well, I believe in festivals very, very much since I started being a filmmaker. And even before then, when I was a student of cinema and then a film critic for a little while, I used to go to festivals everywhere in the world where I could. And of course, becoming more and more, let's say, a pro, I've been able to travel the world even more so in depth and see a lot of realities of festivals around the world. And every new festival is a welcome addition to the importance of having platforms to show the world cinema to the local audiences and also to create new conversations happening in between the crossroads between filmmakers, critics, industry, and all of that. So to have a festival that sits in this part of the world is as great as a new festival happening in parts of the world where maybe cinema wasn't so central until then. Dave Kajanek handed me the script. He was working on it for another director, a great director, Antonio Campos, but then probably because life is life, they couldn't do it together. And Dave came to me and said, do you remember the project I was working on about eaters? And I finally finished the script. Do you want to read it? And I read it and I was like, wow, another great script from David. But at the same time, such a beautiful portrait of America and so endearing characters lost in their loneliness and in the sense of abandonment and looking for love. All these themes and all these textures spoke to me very loudly and I felt like I have to do it. And plus the fact that in reading the script, I've seen immediately my friend Timothy playing the lead, and I felt like, oh my God, if he does it, then I have to do it. So I gave him the script, and he read the script, and he was up for it, and that's why we did it. When I did Call Me By Your Name, I was preparing Suspiria, and I was going to shoot Suspiria a few months afterwards. And in fact, I did shoot both movies in the same year. And I was giving myself the task of making the most flamboyant and like hyperkinetic movie with Suspiria, to the degree that I felt now I'm doing this little movie and I want to make it as if it's a sort of contained, almost chamber piece. So I directed Call Me with the most stripped economical cinematic means possible, whether it was the way we did it, the crew, the number of days and everything, but also the language we chose for it, like very simple, direct language. Strangely, I had the same thought when I approached Bones and all. I said, I want to become invisible as a filmmaker. I want the movie to speak for itself. I want the character to immerse themselves into the landscape, and basically those two elements, character and landscape, to speak and to really strip down again the language to the most essential way. So that was the approach that in a way unifies these two movies, even though they're very different movies. Timothy was cunning and smart and inspiring and quick and really like witty when he did Call Me By Your Name. And I found the same intelligence, and I found a man that is growing up and who is really having this great capacity of challenging himself with material and making things that push forward instead of take a conservative route. So it was great to see that. I think we both grow up. We are grown-ups in different ways. And it's good to become, to continue life together and then to meet on the artistic side every now and then and to say, what did we do? What can we do? What's the next? And when you have some kind of provocation at play, you can modulate it and you can make a statement. I have not thought in terms of the cannibalism as the center aspect of the movie. It was more the sense of loneliness and the inescapability of who they are that drove me into this movie. Of course, cannibalism being the ultimate taboo, it adds an element that cannot be obliterated in the approach to the movie. And the challenge is, like, despite these people are cannibals, can we see them? Can we understand them? Can we end up loving them? Which I think I don't know if this is a completely successful endeavor we achieved, but it's an endeavor that is worth trying because it belongs to the way in which I believe cinema should behave, which means to bring you in places where you have not been until then, to let you see things from a perspective that you might have not taken in your everyday life. in a way, to practice the sort of utopic approach to filmmaking. I don't watch my movies after the first presentation. I stop watching them. Up until that moment, you have to review movies over time because you have to review the mix, the this, the that. So you end up watching the movie like 100 times before you finally release it, right? And the world sees it. And my habit is to show it for the first time in the first festival, and then. But I'm thinking of watching it tomorrow, because I am very curious to see how this audience can react to it. Since the invention of TV and later of home video, the consumption of cinema has been not just theatrical, Like, it's only up until the moment in which television was invented that cinema was basically a theatrical experience per se, and exclusively that. To the degree that film critics were talking about movies from their memories, and when the movie could be seen in a cinematheque, they could review again the movie and discover whether they had created a new movie in their mind. When TV showed up, you could see film that you have seen in cinema in TV. And when you started to get home video, VHS, you could review the movies you have seen on VHS, given how much of these movies could be released in VHS or not. When the Blu-ray, Laserdisc, Blu-ray, DVD industry came about, that possibility expanded even more so. And when streamers came to become, then this became even more deep. But the truth is that it's been like 70 years that we could kind of consider theatrical one part of the experience of seeing a film. And many of the movies that I love and I adored and that I feel like they gave me a lot, I've seen them not in cinemas in the first place. I don't know. All About Eve, the first time I saw the movie was in TV. And I reckon immediately the masterpiece that Mankiewicz made. When I catch the movie on a screening at the BFI, I was even more blown away by it. Just all these little professorial little banality that I said to say that for me theatrical is essential for my conception of my movies and the way in which I think a movie has to be seen and shared by people in a mutual shared experience. But I'm also very realistic about the way in which a movie can find you. It's not just cinema that you can see and find a movie. You can see and find a movie in every way is possible. Am I happy that a movie doesn't ever see the light of a screen on a big theater? No, I'm not. But I'm more happy that a young filmmaker or a young person can find, I don't know, a Savjat Rai movie or a Ozu movie on his iPad or computer and discover the power of that kind of experience, cinematic experience? Of course. So we have to balance things and we have to understand how we can make the best out of the mediums and how we can really see a movie throughout different mediums. What is not interesting to me is the creation of content, as they call it. I'm not into that business. I don't believe in content creation. That's like as if you go to Walmart and you have to shelf different kind of, boots, rubber boots, and you make them as content of the shelf in order for the consumption of it to be efficient. If you treat cinema like that, you fail and you destroy the possibilities, both cultural, intellectual, emotional, and business-wise. But if you make cinema and you believe in the way in which cinema can be seen in every platforms, maybe starting from theatrical, because theatrical gives a more validity to the following distribution, then you might have, in a way, the Philosopher's Stone in your hands.